Assalamu alaikum, ladies. Alhamdulillah, I finally did it. I actually wrote a book. It's dedicated to all the single Muslim mothers out there, hence the name How to Be a Single Muslim Mum. Inshallah, it's available as an ebook, paperback, and it will be available as an audio. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah feekum, sisters, for the support. Check out the link in the description to get yours. The Niqabi Diaries, Season 4.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode, season 4 of the Niqabi Diaries. Alhamdulillah, we have with us Sister Halima. Sister, could you please introduce yourself for the listeners and tell us a little bit about what you do, inshallah?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Halima, and I am a mother of twin girls. I am also a public health specialist, a nutritionist, a pre and postnatal nutritionist. I also am practicing as a doula currently and a lactation counselor. I support women in their fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, and in the lactation journey. So yeah, that's what I do, inshallah.
MashaAllah, subhanakallah. I love those topics that you mentioned. Alhamdulillah, very beneficial, inshallah. So, could you just tell us a little bit about your Islamic background and let us know how you came to be wearing the niqab, inshallah?
Yeah. So I am born a Muslim. My mom, my grandparents, everybody is a Muslim. So I grew up as a Muslim, and I basically from my childhood, everything I know is Islam. I lived in an Islamic community. I am originally from Ghana, but currently living in the United States. So everything I know is Islam and Muslim community. There were some few Christians around in our neighborhood, but they also sometimes be like, we all coexist as Muslims. Sometimes you would never even know that our neighbors are Christians. So everything I know is Islam and Muslims, and I attended Islamic school right from my childhood to high school. And my college education is the only varied education that I had that goes with solely academic education that I had. That's how my life has been is and that's who I am.
Okay, mashallah, Allahumma barak. I'm so excited to actually get to speak to another Ghanaian sister. I think I've only spoken to maybe one previously on the series, alhamdulillah. And obviously I live in Ghana now as well. So I'm really interested to know more about like Islam in Ghana. So do you mind saying what part of Ghana you're from?
Yeah, I was born in Accra. And
okay.
I was born in Accra in a small city called Newtown. So it is Newtown is like a small city in Newtown called Akotes. So Akotes is predominantly Muslim. Okay, so but it's varied culture, but varied ethnicity. So we have a whole lot of Chamba people around, we have a whole lot of Kotokoli people, and we have a lot of Hausa people, we have a lot of some few Farafara people. So it's diverse, but a lot of Muslims. Like it's more or less like a Muslim community where I am from. And I attended in Nima. So Nima is a neighboring town as well. So Nima is predominantly Muslims as well, and it's known to be the Zongo. Okay, so it's like Islamic school all over around, and yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, that's how I grew.
Mashallah, because wallahi, I've been here for like 2 years, going on 3 years now, and I'm still learning how everything works here, So I'm living in Kumasi, and we have a Zongo area here too. But
Okay.
when you hear from like Christians, they don't talk about it in a nice way. They say things like, "Oh, that's like this is a dirty area." But to be honest, when I've been there, I feel like it's probably the cleaner part of Kumasi. In all honesty, like and the surrounding areas of it is actually the cleanest parts of Kumasi, in my opinion. But and Alhamdulillah, I always have good experiences with the Muslims here, which is one of the positive things for me. So I'm really happy about that. Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
Because obviously there's I'm born and raised in the UK, so there's some cultural differences. Like even though my father is Ghanaian, I'm not used to obviously certain things. But I think for me, the Muslims like make this place like it's the highlights for me. Basically, that's what I can say. Alhamdulillah,
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, always like nice people, nice personalities, and you know they're just helpful and kind, and they help you like with a lot of things. Like if you need assistance with stuff, they're always willing to they're forthcoming with being helpful and things like that. Alhamdulillah. So that's been nice. But I've been just trying to, because I haven't had the experience in other areas of Ghana, so I'm always interested to find out from Ghanaians, because that's one of the challenges that I found here. I've not been able to mix so much with sisters enough to get to know more about like Ghana because of the language barrier. Because even though people do speak English, I've noticed, especially with a lot of the Muslim women, they're very friendly, mashallah, but some of them, the English isn't as good as non-Muslims in like where I'm living. So that's been one of the challenges for me personally. So yeah, alhamdulillah. But
Yeah.
alhamdulillah,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. So like you grew up in Ghana, and alhamdulillah living in a Muslim area. So was you always wearing the hijab as well? Because I've noticed here in Kumasi, at least, hijab is something which, from what I'm seeing, is like I feel like it looks like some people don't understand exactly how like what the hijab is or the purpose of it. Because subhanallah, I've seen some strange things here, like regarding like how people cover themselves. Like sometimes I'll see people like, for example, there's a sister locally here. She wears like if you from the top down, like well, from the neck down, you wouldn't think that she's Muslim by how she dresses. But when you see her head, she's got like a headscarf on, like the ready-made hijabs that people wear. Those kind of style
Yeah.
ones. It's already sewn, and you just like slip it on. And then like, but I think I think she's a young girl. She goes to like maybe she's in like JHS like 2 or 3, something like that. But she's just wearing like short sleeves and like a short skirt, an actual short skirt, and it's got a slit and everything. So I just, when I see her, sometimes I'm just thinking like, is she Muslim, or is she wearing the scarf because of another reason or something? So I'm a bit confused, because she's not the only one. I've seen other things similar, and I know some sisters, Muslim sisters, who don't wear the hijab here, which is similar to in the UK. So I'm already accustomed to that. But I'm wondering, like, if the concept of hijab is actually fully understood or not. So what is your experience, and what's your kind of take on what I've just said? Basically, if you can explain to me, that would be great, inshallah.
Yeah, right. So the concept of hijab in Ghana, some communities, or I would say the Zongo communities, it is more as if the hijab is understood in a different way, not in the concept of what is written in the Quran. Even though there's a lot of like the Islamic practices, we practice Islamically, everything is revolved around the Islam and how Islam is supposed to be, but the hijab itself is not being practiced properly. At least from my experience when I was growing up, I would say I am one of the few fortunate ones. I grew up going to Islamic school and going to madrasa. So it's kind of okay. All my life, I have been wearing hijab. I um I I cover myself from head to toe, not totally. Growing up is like, okay, you can just cover your hair in a turban way, or there's something that we call duku in Hausa. So we use that and cover just the hair, and the neck will be showing like the younger tweens and the teenagers. And then also like you can cover yourself with maybe a long sleeve and a skirt, But when you get to your teenage, maybe around 18 or even older, then the concept of hijab starts to crop up. Like you have to cover yourself up, especially when you are in the Islamic schools, because you wear your uniform is Islamically um um guided. Okay, so it's like we wear the long skirt, we wear the long sleeve, and then you wear the hijab. But a lot of the times it's not like a complete thing that everybody practices, even though it's an Islamic or a Muslim dominated community, or communities. People don't actually practice the hijab properly. Okay, so like you saying, the lady that you were said given an example of, she might be going to school, but the school might be maybe a Christian dominated school, or is basically a Christian school, because it's not a lot of people who are willing to go to an Islamic school. So when you go to Islamic school, you have to cover yourself up and put on the uniform, and put on hijab all throughout the day. And some girls, like when they go to school, they put on the hijab all throughout the day. After school, they take it off, because it's like, okay, we need to just put on the diku, or to cover up only the hair, and everything else is left out.
Mhm.
So if it happens that this girl that you are giving an example of, she is in a Christian school, then yes, she might wear the Christian uniform, because it's gonna be short, it's gonna be short sleeve, and the skirt will be short to the knee, or maybe a little above the knee. And she might want to just cover because she is a Muslim, or she has parents who are advising her, listen, cover, because we don't want you to go out without a hijab. We want you to practice, we want you to do this and that. So she might be following, maybe or listening, obeying to her parents, because her parents are telling her to cover, or her friends. Her friends are covering, they are going to Islamic school, so they are covering, and she's seeing that, or she just knows that she has to cover. But because of the school setting or the school rules, she cannot cover up completely. So that happens. And then with our elders as well. Our elders grew up now going to school and now going to madrasa. A lot of our parents grew up now going to madrasa. They don't really know the Islamic guidelines of how to cover, how to, even with the salat and stuff like that, a whole lot. So it's hard, and also the culture itself as well, because some cultures is like there is a certain way of dressing, like we make the Ankara, like in United States here we call it Ankara, or even in Ghana we call the Zeni, right? So the
Mhm.
Ankara is like a whole big cloth that you take to a seamstress, and then the seamstress will, you give a certain style or pattern that you want the seamstress to make for you. So the culture is influenced by the way the people dress. So even if like a woman is a Muslim, because the Ankara is a certain style of dressing, so you see that the Muslims do the same pattern or the same style as the Christian would do, except that they will cover up with a hijab, like a different kind of hijab, not like the thick one that you need to cover and not see through and all of that. So you see a whole lot of that around. So when you see that, you get confused. Is this really a hijab? Is this really not? Why are they covering like this? That's different. They don't really cover their neck. That's different. They don't really cover their hands. That's different. So it's like the culture integrated with Islam sometimes because of the lack of knowledge, I would say. Okay, but now I think there is like the growing population are realizing that the way of dressing is not really the complete way of dressing according to Islam. So the pattern of dressing, or the way of dressing with the Ankara and stuff like that, is being changed, and people are now maybe using the big style or pattern to like abaya style to make the Ankara style, and then to make sure that they are covering properly, and also with the hijab to make sure that the hijab is not really see-through, and yeah, it covers up properly. So it's
That
sometimes
would be really nice
confusing.
to see. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can definitely agree with you with what you've said. Because I mean, even just a few days ago, I was on one of the trotro coming back home, and a sister got on, and she had like I was saying, that one of those ready-made hijabs on,
Mhm.
and with the same style of dress you was mentioning, the Ankara like sewn dress, and the like the neck, you know, some of the styles. This neck was very wide. It was like a off the shoulder, pretty
Mhm.
much style one, you know.
Yeah.
And all her back was open, and the front was just like, and obviously that little ready-made hijab that she's wearing is not, you know, you would need to wear like a full khimar to
Mhm.
actually cover that. And
Yeah.
also at the same time, the sleeves were also short too. So she would have had to wear like a proper khimar to you know, to make that, you know, like fully like, you know, complying with the, you know, the basically the specifications of the hijab, subhanallah. So you know, that's what I was thinking. I mean, as I said, I haven't had any conversations with women here about it to really go into it, because I think in the area that I'm living, it's not a Muslim majority area, even though there are a lot of Muslims and there's still a lot of masajid.
Mhm.
But I don't know, like I've noticed since I came, it's strange because the local Muslim ladies, when I first came, they was wearing hijab, like, you know, like they looked like they was wearing hijab like normally, like how I see people commonly wear hijab, like kind of like abaya style, or like dresses which are covering, and then like, you know, a hijab which, so the skin wasn't exposed. But now it's like they've just stopped wearing the actual hijab on their head, so most of the time you see maybe they're wearing like a cap or something like that. So it's like they've given up in the heat almost. I feel like they're just too hot and too bothered to
Yes.
put the, you know, the actual. So that's what I've been seeing recently with them. But
Yeah.
alhamdulillah, everybody's, you know, really nice, and they take their, what I'm most impressed about here in Ghana is that when it comes to the salah, they do take it very seriously.
Okay.
So one of the examples that I have is like, for example, any, like alhamdulillah, anywhere you go here, you can find a place to pray, like anywhere, even like a restaurant that isn't like Muslim run specifically, they'll have like an area where, you know, Muslims can pray and stuff like that. So, you know, it's very accessible, and they've got a lot of like of like streets, masjids that, you know, you can, or masajid you can, you know, like they're just there, like, you know, you can easily stop and pray at them, you know, like wudu facilities, everything's available. And they're kind of like these open air ones. I know you obviously know what I'm talking about, but just for listeners who wouldn't have a clue, there's there's like an open front
Right.
like
Like a
prayer area. I call it
fancy,
like
like a
a musalla.
fence. It's not really a fence, but it's gonna be like a
Yes,
covered place that you can
yes,
actually put your mat, pray your mat, and
exactly.
pray.
Yes.
And yeah. Mm,
Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
the only downside I could say about that possibly is that as a female, and
Mhm.
you know, it's coming back to the hijab issue again, is that like if you need to make wudu, there's not really a concealed area for you to make your wudu. But you know, because as I said, like the issue of the hijab here, I don't think, as I said, that you know, you've mentioned yourself, people don't have the full education about what the hijab is. Like sisters come and like they'll just, you know, even the ones who are correctly covering, they seem to just remove whatever they need to remove and just make wudu,
Mhm.
you know, and like, you know, in the public, and so people like, you know, would be able to see them, kind of thing. Alhamdulillah, the brothers don't stare or anything like that, they are respectful, but I think just it's just the way things are here at the moment.
Mhm.
And the other thing, as I said, with regards to the salah, I like the fact that, you know, that's the time that you really see how many Muslims there are,
Mhm.
because even the sisters who don't cover at all, they
Mhm.
make sure they do their prayers, like, and they come on time to the masjid for the daily prayer. So especially when you're in the market areas, you see sisters and brothers from, you know, all different, like, you know, you just subhanallah, it really impresses me.
Yes. Yes. And
It really
that I'm
impresses
I'm
me.
happy that
Yeah,
you
alhamdulillah.
mentioned that. Yeah, I'm happy that you mentioned that. And that is one thing that I really love about being in the Zongo area and being in
Mm-hmm.
the Zongo community, because when you are around that area, it's like you are being reminded not only by the azan, but also by the action that other people are taking. So when the azan
Yes.
goes off, it's gonna be like everybody gets ready. Not as entirely everybody, but a lot of people would be like, okay, even in the market area, you see women leaving their market space, going to pray, and then coming back. So people will come to the
Mm-hmm.
market stall and find out nobody's there. If that person really wants to buy something from that woman, she would wait. She would wait because she knows that the salads will take maybe 10 minutes or 11 minutes to finish, and then the market vendor would come back and then she would get somebody to
Mm-hmm.
buy something from her. So that's one of the beauty of being in the Zongo community and in the Muslim dominated community. I love that. And also when you mentioned about the hospitality, that is amazing, because I know that that is one biggest thing that not only the Muslims in Ghana, but everybody in Ghana, I think. That is how we are raised, and that's how our great grandparents probably were. So I think that like translates through how we are raised and nurtured. And yeah, I think everybody seeks to help everybody, and we are genuinely concerned about each other's. But when you go in deep down, it's different. You might feel different, but like on the surface, yes, that happens, and people want to help each other. People, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you are like you went there and you are not a native, you see like
Mm-hmm.
it's different. Like people really genuinely want to help, want to support, want to when you get into the community, yes, you will feel that support genuinely. Yeah. And that's something
Alhamdulillah.
that I love about my community too. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Hmm.
I think yeah, like for me personally, like I feel like I don't know. I just feel the Muslims are better. I'm just gonna say it like literally. And the main difference, I'll be blunt, is that I feel like the non-Muslims, when you meet them and you do anything, or you need something or you need help,
Hmm.
or they do anything for you, there's an expectance that you're going to give them money. Whereas
Hmm.
with the Muslims, there's never there isn't any of that. Do you know what I mean? That's the biggest difference for me. So I feel like the Muslims are just more genuine when it comes to the help. Whereas a non-Muslim, they can be very friendly with you to help you, but then they'll turn around and expect you to give something because they know you're not from here. So because obviously, like, there's been some people who know that I'm from the UK, for example,
Hmm.
like they'll expect that, oh, they're going to get something, so like, because they think that I've got money, but it's just they don't know I'm poor,
Yeah.
just like them, like, so that's like, that could be like the disappointing thing for them, like, almost like, subhanallah, sometimes it's like when they finish sometimes, and it's like they regret having helped me, because it's like I can't give them anything, or if I can give them something, it's very little, so they look at me like, oh, like I'm being a stingy or something like that. But for me, especially coming from the UK,
Hmm.
if you need help from somebody, they just help you. If they want to help you, they help you. If they don't want to help you, they don't help you. You don't have to turn around and give them money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here it's just like, people don't understand the situation, how it is. Like, they just think because you're coming from a Western country, that
Mhm.
means that you've got money, that you can just, like, and obviously, and in the UK it's different from America as well. I think it might be different people from Americans, or people coming from America, because they have a tipping system. So in the
Yes.
UK we don't have that,
Yes.
so I think
Yes.
for Americans, it's a different situation. Maybe they feel differently about this, but as somebody likes being British, like, we just don't have that. It's like you go someplace, you pay for whatever you're paying for, whatever the price is supposed to be, and then, like, you're done. That's it, khalas. But yeah, like, so for maybe the Americans, it's different for them. They feel like it's something that they can, it's not so alien basically to them. It's something normal that they would just do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, being British, it's not. It's not in our culture, basically. So
Yeah,
it
that's
just seems kind of alien. Yeah.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think that's true because especially because you are in Kumasi. Kumasi, some areas I
Mm,
think is like a tourist area. So a lot of people come and for tourism and stuff like that. So possibly people are now used to that. Like they know that if people come in or to stay for a few days or few weeks, they will tip them and they will give them gifts when they help them. So possibly that is the motivation why like people have
mm,
so I'm not sure about that, but I don't think it's like is a general is an everywhere thing, possibly because Kumasi, some part of the Kumasi is like people from the United States and people from UK and stuff like that go there to visit and see the country and have a tour. So possibly that's why people feel like you have to incentivize them and
mm.
when they
And
help.
it's I think it's part of them Ashanti pride as well. I don't know. I don't know if like I don't know how things are in Accra, but I don't
Mhm.
know. Like I think this Ashanti thing, because even like I've noticed, even when people get into the airport, like from Accra, like
Oh
they're hit
yeah.
with like the celebrities when they come, they hit them with the Ashanti culture immediately, and it's just like okay, well Ashantis
Well,
aren't from Accra, there isn't it? So so why do you
mhm.
hit them with Ashanti culture? It's like you put that on them, and then the where that Kumasi is in the Ashanti is the capital of the
Yes.
Ashanti region, which is like 6 hours away from Accra,
Yeah.
and but it's just like that seems to be like the domineering culture basically. But subhanallah, it's just
Oh,
like
you
I don't know, like
I mean I second what you're saying so much because I have seen that a lot nowadays. Like from I went to Ghana in 2020 and it was like
Mhm,
immediately we got off from the plane and we were coming in through the immigration. It was like that. So anybody who helps us, there was this guy who was helping us with our luggages, and he was demanding that we tip him. So it's like we didn't
mhm,
ask for help, but it's like that's I don't know if that is part of what people do nowadays to like help and then expect to be tipped. I'm not sure, but like you said, it's true. Like everybody, like I don't know, yeah. But I think that is something that maybe is an Ashanti thing, and also it is now being spread out spread out to everywhere because I mean
mhm.
you find everybody everywhere nowadays. So I'm not really sure, but I think your observation is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, subhanAllah. Like, wallahi, there's so much that I could say on this issue, and I might just have to talk to you another time to talk more about this stuff because it will just be off topic otherwise. But
Mhm.
yeah, subhanAllah. Like, as I said, like, I haven't been able to really talk to any Ghanaians, about it, and unfortunately, I don't have any Ghanaian friends that I could sit down and really have these conversations with, even before coming here to get
Mm,
like a better understanding or have those connections.
right.
So it's like anytime I get to speak to a sister from Ghana, I think you're the third sister that I've spoken to, the second for the Niqabi Diaries series, but there was a sister that I spoke to for my other podcast, which I've got called By the Pen, and she wrote a book. It's called The Girl from Nima.
Okay.
So yes, so that was like a memoir book that about her life growing up there and stuff. So she also lives in the States actually now.
Mm,
I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but I think her name is Miriam as well, actually.
Mariam.
So yeah, but she was a really nice sister. But subhanallah, like yeah. So apart from that, I've not had the chance to actually really speak in depth with any Ghanaian sisters about Ghana and life here and the Muslim culture here specifically and how it is and these kind of things. But as I said, alhamdulillah, what I've seen from the Muslims is good and in general. And especially what I also wanted to add as well, even in regards to the kind of hijab situation and the
Mhm.
prayer, that kind of thing. Usually, like something that you see in the UK, it's not it's uncommon to see that there's so many youth, especially taking their salah seriously.
Mhm.
Um, so that's why I'm really impressed with it here, that they, regardless of their level of knowledge, you could say, like, even if you say that they don't have knowledge of hijab properly and correct understanding, they're still taking, that time to they still find the salah very important, which I really pleases me, because in the UK, if you see somebody without hijab, and this is not true all the time, but it's often, especially with younger people, it can be an indicator that the person, it doesn't do their prayers, for example. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not exactly, so that's it's an indicator. It doesn't mean that the person doesn't pray at all, but often it is, that's what usually it means. So like, it's something that in the UK you'll find that if a sister's not wearing the hijab, most of the time, if you find that she's taken time to do her 5 times a day prayers, like if she works and she takes time out of work to go and have a break to pray and stuff, that's usually something that's usually quite rare. Unfortunately, but that's just literally how it is. But here, I see that it's like, seems to be the opposite here. So alhamdulillah, which is good, obviously. So it's about your life now. You grew up in the Muslim area, and so you mentioned you was wearing hijab growing up, or like, was it correct hijab? Like, how was it?
Yeah, actually, I grew up wearing correct hijab in school. So in school, it's correct hijab, and then after school, it's gonna be like just maybe before long time ago, there used to be like the small khimars that kids used to wear. Um, um, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that is what we used to wear like when we are home. And then sometimes
Yes.
it's an open khimar, sometimes it's not. So when it's covered, we use it to pray. But when it's not covered, we can I use it to like maybe like I said, like duku, just to cover my hair. And then also sometimes I cover it up with my neck. So it's been like that until I think around my 16th, around 16, 15 years, that I actually started to wear like all the time, wear full hijab with long dresses and long sleeves, and cover my hair whenever I'm out from home. When I'm home, we used to live in a compound home as like a half close family and half not so close family. So even though it wasn't like okay, because I'm around my mahrams and non-mahrams, it was like okay, I would cover but not completely. So until I entered my high school, and then my high school was like full hijab, everything has to be covered except my face. Okay, so I'll wear my long dresses, and sometimes it's not really like a baya, it's like a long dress to maybe a little lower to the knee, and then wear a pant underneath, and then with a long sleeve, and then my hair. But because one reason was because my dad was one of the strictest around the block, around the hood. Okay. So he does not play. He does not play. He's known around the area. Like he doesn't play with salat, he doesn't play with hijab, he doesn't play with even maybe playing between girls and boys, like girls being friends with boys and boys being friends with girls. He's one of the strictest. And then the neighborhood is like, okay, once this parents instruct this child, even though it's not his own child, the child must obey and listen. Okay. So that is how it has been. Yeah, that is how it has been for me. But I had friends who were not really covering. Sometimes they wear the long dresses, but it's gonna be like tight and shapy and showing their figure. But I did not get that chance to do that because I am surrounded by my dad and my elder brother who is also very strict. So I wasn't able to do that. and that has like like transformed me to like really, when I got married, it was okay. I really did not want to wear the Ghanaian way of dressing when a lady gets married, because there's um a way of dressing when you get married. You have to wear those ankaras, and those ankaras are in the pattern, like I said earlier, to wear the slits, the long figure forming skirt, and then the dresses with the short sleeves. So I was like contemplating on whether to do that or not to do that, because my husband is also from Ghana. So it is really
Mhm.
hard. And fortunately for me, my mother-in-law is a an educator in Islam. So she's sort of a sheikha, and my father-in-law is
MashaAllah.
also a sheikh. So it is like really
Alhamdulillah.
okay. When I got into the home, my mother-in-law brought out her open abaya and gave it to me. Even though my parents, when they brought me in, they were like, okay, this is it. And one or two of my Amaria, that's the wedding dresses, were in the African style, but my mother-in-law did not allow me to wear those things. If I have to wear it, I have to put on my open abaya on top of it, so it covers my arm and it covers everything else, my form. So that really helped me to like, okay, I have to change the way I dress, even though I dress appropriately, but I also up my game. So that is how it started. And yeah, I I feel comfortable dressing the way I dress. I yeah, and yeah, that's it. But niqab came in later. Niqab came in
Okay.
2020 when I went to Hajj, Alhamdulillah. And
Alhamdulillah.
yeah, and I I
So
did
how many years have you been wearing the correct hijab then? You say like since well the time that you got married, like what's the time difference between that time and when you went for the Hajj?
about 11 years. So from the time I
Okay.
got married, from the time I was in proper hijab before I got married. So
From
before I
school,
got
yeah,
married,
from school days,
yes,
yeah.
I was in proper hijab before I got married, except that like, when I'm home, even though we are in the compound home, it's not like okay, there are my non-mahrams and there are my mahrams. I still would
Yes,
not
yes.
properly cover. But going
Yeah,
outside the
yeah.
home is like a proper covering of my,
Yeah,
yeah, right. But
okay,
then
yeah,
when I got
alhamdulillah.
married, yeah, when I got married was like really when I went in full-fledged to not wear the African clothing in the pattern or the style that everybody wears. I have to put on my open abaya on top, or I have to put on an abaya on top of it, even though I have the African style or clothing and
Mm-hmm.
right. So niqab came in later when I went to Hajj, Alhamdulillah. So niqab was in planned. I never thought that I would like wear niqab. So we
MashaAllah.
went to a store. We went to a store and we saw niqabs. And my brother, my younger brother, he got a niqab and he was like, wow, this is nice. Maybe I should just get one for my wife, and then that's my sister-in-law, and I'll just go home and tease her with it and try and see if she will look nice on it. So that's what he said. So I was like, okay. So he said for me to try it and to try it to see how it's gonna look on me. So when I wore it, subhanallah, I don't know what came into me. I don't know what happened. I felt so beautiful, even though I did not have a mirror in front of me. Inside was I felt like I was empowered. I felt like I was so beautiful. I was on top of the moon. And there was the feeling that came, and I was like, oh, okay. So this is for you. for your wife, you can take it to her. I won't take it because you that was your decision to just take it. So at that time my husband was not with us. It was only me and my younger brother. So when we went back into our hotel, I was thinking, I think maybe I should just get one niqab and wear it and surprise my husband and see what he thinks about it, because we never spoke about niqab. And then there was one time when we spoke about niqab and he was like, if you want to wear it, fine. I don't care. If you don't want to wear it, I don't care. I'm fine with it. But remember, once you start to wear it, you would not take it off. So that's what he said to me. So I was like,
Okay, mashallah.
I would just tease him and see what what he thinks about it. So I went alone back into the store and I got one niqab. I still have the niqab till today. Okay, so when I got to the hotel, I went to the masjid, the haram, and I prayed. When I came back, I was not even at my hotel. He was coming to meet me, coming out from the women's section, and I put the niqab down because I had the niqab up. So I put the niqab down and then he saw me. He was like, MashaAllah, this is so beautiful. And I felt the same way I felt when I wore the one that my younger brother got for his wife. And I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm not going to take it off. I am going to try and wear it. So that was how it started. And I wore niqab doing my Hajj, and I wore niqab to Arafah, and that was it until today. MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. That's fantastic. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. So it's interesting that you said you started wearing it during your Hajj. So just if you can explain for some of the listeners as well, because usually one of the one of the kind of evidences or proofs that people bring for not for niqab not being mandatory or not being, something that, you have to even wear as a Muslim woman, is that when you go for Hajj and Umrah, that you're not supposed to like cover your face or something like that. There's that ruling as well. So can you explain for the listeners how you wore it in Hajj and Umrah? Because there is a hadith that's Aisha radiallahu anha, and when she went for Umrah, that she used to, cover her face when like men were passing near to her by her. So, if you can explain like how you did that, inshallah.
Yeah, I think going to Hajj, I honestly um before I never knew, because I remember speaking against niqab, because when I was in
Mm-hmm.
high school, I had this few friends. They were not close friends, but they were like friends of friends. One of them or two of them were wearing niqab at that time, around maybe 16 years or 15, 16 years. So they being around them made me to they feel like they are better because they are wearing niqab. They are better in faith. They are better in whatever. I'm not sure what. So that made me to have like a negative connotation for niqab. Like, okay, do they
Mm-hmm.
feel like they are better in Islam, or do they feel because they wear niqab, they feel like they are more like up high in the faith paradigm or something like that. So I always like feel like, no, I don't want to wear niqab to feel like I have faith. I want to like practice my hijab and wear it properly, and practice my salat and all my fara'id and everything. But when I went to Hajj, I saw I've never seen like people wearing niqab that. So when you go to Saudi Arabia, you see a whole lot. I think it's just the culture for some, and then it's also Islam for some. And then
Yes.
like you mentioned, in Islam, there is this hadith that also mentions that niqab is somehow obligatory on women, and some madhab also say it is not obligatory, and Allah knows
Mm-hmm.
best. Allah alam. Okay, so for me, when I went to Hajj, and like it was half through, it was like few days into Hajj that I started wearing niqab, but I really enjoyed it, and everybody around wears niqab. A lot of women who came to Hajj, some women who came to Hajj, that I met one sister who came to Hajj, and she was only wearing niqab because she came to Hajj and everybody's wearing. And then there are a whole lot of women too who have not even wear hijab. I mean niqab, I'm sorry, not hijab, niqab. But the women from Saudi, you see them, everybody in niqab and everybody in full, like sometimes like full burqa, like covered, not even the
Yeah.
face or not even the hands or nothing. You don't see
Mm.
anything, right? But my experience was this: I enjoyed wearing it, except that there was a time when my first experience of um um maybe should I say racism or whatever, was in Haram, in the masjid,
Oh,
in Haram, in
subhanallah.
front of Kaaba, subhanallah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this I think the security women who was who like take care of the place. I think they take care of the place, or they see to the IDs and stuff like that. So I was in the masjid. I was reading my Quran, reciting my Quran, and there was this lady who came. She was also in niqab, and she was covered, like fully covered, and she has gloves on, except that her eyes was showing. And she came to me and she was like, um, "Are you from here?" And I'm like, "No, I am from the United States and I came to do Hajj." And she said to show her my ID. So when I saw her ID, I was like, okay, fine, I can show her IDs, because I thought she was coming to like be friends and interrogate and have some conversation. But apparently she is one of the police or the security women. So she asked me for my ID and then I showed it to her. Even though I showed her my ID from the United States, she said I should show her my ID for Hajj. So my ID for Hajj was inside my niqab. So I pulled it out
Mm.
and I showed it to her. And she said she wants me out of the masjid because I'm not supposed to be here. And I was like, what? I don't understand. She does not speak English properly. So that
Mm.
made me to be like, maybe the conversation wasn't clear. Like whatever she's trying to ask me, whatever I'm trying to tell her wasn't clear. I don't speak Arabic, only that I speak one or two words. And if they speak, I
Mm.
understand maybe a little bit. So I was confused. And she went back and she came back. She went away and she came back again. She said, like I should go out. And I'm like, maybe they want to clean
Mm.
up maybe they want to clean, because usually they clean the masjid every time they come to vacuum the carpet or clean the area. So I thought possibly that's the reason why, until I went out and then I spoke with my brother, my younger brother. And then my younger brother was like, no, she was trying to tell you something. She thought because you are black and stuff like that, she thought you are one of the workers who come to the Saudi Arabia
Wow.
to work, and they don't
Wow.
want people to do Hajj, like those people who come to work, they don't want
Wow.
them to do Hajj. So I was like, wow, what
Subhanallah.
is this? Like, what? So this lady thought I was like maybe the like Africans, or like I'm from Africa, I came in to work. Sometimes people sneak out from their job to
Mm.
come and do Hajj. So that was what she was thinking. I'm like, what? This
Subhanallah. But to be
Subhanallah.
honest, that's sad if they have that there like that, because surely the Africans who have gone there to work, even as cleaners, if they're Muslim, they should be given the opportunity to do Hajj, isn't it? That would make sense, and then they wouldn't have to sneak out from their jobs.
Right, right. That is what I thought too. I thought everything was good except when that happened. And I started to ask around. I'm like, oh, that is it. And then somebody was telling me that, yeah, that is it, because they are not given the opportunity to do Hajj. So they only are given opportunity to do Hajj like every other 2 years or 5 years. So they are being scrutinized a lot sometimes. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, but that was unfortunate. Yeah. So yeah, I embraced I started wearing niqab in Mecca, and then I got my first my first I don't know what to call it, racism or whatever, because of my skin color or something, or
Wow.
whatever it is. Yeah, but that was unfortunate. But
Subhanallah.
yeah.
Yeah. SubhanAllah, Allah understand. So, wanted to ask, so you wore the niqab back to America on the plane?
Yes, on the plane. Yes.
Okay. So, and how was that experience then?
Um okay, it was nice. It was a beautiful experience, except that when I got to the airport, um through the immigration, I have to lift up my niqab, and because I'm new, I don't know anything about the my rights, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to lift up my niqab for a picture to be taken of me. And the immigration man was a male, so I didn't ask any question whether, like, if I can get a female to do that with me. I just lifted up my niqab, and then he took the picture. And then later his sister was telling me that I could have asked about the option for like a female to come and then take the picture. But I mean, it's a learning I am thing, so I have learned that next time I would request for that. But it was easy, it was beautiful. There wasn't any problem. I did not receive any racism, any judgment, any nothing, any stare, not even stares, except that when I got in, because I used to live in North Carolina and then I moved to a different state now. So the different state that I live in now, that is where I think there is a lot of stairs. Sometimes when I go out, I get a lot of stairs. And also I receive like, do you speak English? Do you speak English? Like when I
More
meet somebody in
specifically,
the
not.
library or in the mall or even like on the streets anywhere, people I get that a lot. Like they like feel like I don't speak English, or I'm kind of somebody who speak a different language or something like that. So they want to like um um make sure if I speak English so that they don't bite me
Yeah.
on speaking English or something like that. But otherwise, yeah, I'm good. Everything is good. I think Alhamdulillah, I'm enjoying it. I love it. Um, yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So you haven't faced any kind of abuse for wearing the niqab over there?
I wouldn't say no. I have not faced any abuse for wearing niqab. I only like what I said, when I meet somebody in the streets or in the mall, I get people saying, do you speak English? Or people staring at me. I get a lot of stares. And also, yeah, just recently when I went out, because of what is happening around the world and what is happening in with our sisters and brothers in Palestine, when I went out, I felt some sort of, I felt like I wasn't safe, because when I went out, I was in the parking lot when I saw a car that was trying to jump me over. Okay, so
SubhanAllah.
yeah, so I stood and waited, and then the car came over me again, and then I changed my direction, and then I started to run. I ran and then went into a nearby store instead of the store that I was walking to. So I don't know what really happened. I'm still unsure, but it was just swift that I have to take that decision of like really running and going to the next door store. So that was the only thing. Other than that, I don't think there was any like direct abuse that I have experienced. And I'm praying that Allah
Okay.
should not even make that happen, because in the United
Yeah,
States, you never know. Taking the subway, I've
exactly.
heard sisters talking about, especially what is going around, what's our sisters, what with everything that's going on. There was a sister who was talking about she takes the subway to school every day. So she feels very unsafe when she's on the subway. So she has to take her niqab off and put on a face mask when she's in on the train.
SubhanAllah.
Yes, and then when she gets to school, she puts on the niqab. So I'm not sure
Mhm.
that everybody experiences their own thing, but for me personally, that's, I mean, by far what I have experienced. And I'm praying that nothing like serious happens, inshallah. Yeah, but so far.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Mhm.
Okay, so okay, let's just rewind a wee bit. So you started wearing the niqab in Mecca, and then you came back to the States wearing it. So what was your general reaction from like family and friends? And was you working for anybody at the time or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, since I started wearing the niqab, I have not been working outside the home. I work from home. So I used to work in the hospital, but I'm not working remotely. So if I'm having meetings, I tend to look and see who is in the meeting room. So if it is a male or even sometimes females, I try to turn off my video and then ask for permission that because of my kids and stuff like that, I cannot be on video. So that has been going on well for me. But with family, I think it's a shock for some of my family members. um some of my family members have like taken a back step a little bit. Maybe that's my assumption, maybe that's not, but that's what I have felt when I came back, that um the niqab wasn't expected for me to like, they did not expect me to come back from Hajj with niqab. But it's now getting um watered down a little bit. Like everything is now easing down. Before it was like a little tension when I go out to visit a family member, or and then the family member never seen me with niqab, and it's like, okay, this is Halima is here, and it becomes like a shock. Right. So, but it's now like a comfortable scene in environment for all of us now. But other than that, it's okay. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So, mashallah, I just wanted to touch on something you mentioned earlier, that, before you was wearing niqab, there was a period of time when you felt that the sisters that you knew who were wearing it, they felt that they was better, and more religious,
Mhm.
because they were wearing the niqab, and that's one of the things that kind of put you off from wearing it. So, do you feel now that you're wearing the niqab that there's a similar perception about you from other Muslims? And do you feel that there's a difference in treatment of how people who wear the niqab gets treated compared to the sisters who are wearing the hijab?
Yes, definitely. And I have seen that. Unfortunately, um what I thought about the sisters those days, um maybe it's because of their reactions and maybe it's not, and like I said, maybe it's just our assumption, but I have felt that as well. Now that I have started wearing niqab, I felt that within my family, there is a little bit of that, like, okay, Halima, now I don't want to get closer to her because I'm not in the same um um maybe spiritual level with her, and I have to like really back off a little bit, or she might school me with some aspect of Islam when I sit with her, and she might maybe give me some lectures, Islamic lectures and stuff like that. So I have felt that, but I try to make a comfortable environment each time I meet a family member. I know but nobody has ever told me anything like that, like verbally, to say that I feel uncomfortable with you wearing niqab, or this is how I feel, or this is how you make me feel. But for me, I feel that this is what is happening with
You feel the
some
difference.
yeah, some part of, yeah, there is a difference
Mm,
of, yeah. But I try my best. Most of the time I try my best to create a comfortable and inviting environment. So yeah, but like you said, yeah, I think a lot of the times that's what, especially with our sisters in Ghana, like when I went to Ghana in 2022, I I think some sisters who don't even observe hijab, when you wear niqab, they feel like you are up level with them. Like,
mm,
don't wear the hijab, they don't even wear like a proper dressing, and you are like wearing hijab, you are covering up, you are wearing the niqab. So it's kind of an uncomfortable environment for some sisters. So it's up to me to make it comfortable and make it lively for sisters. I'm not judging nobody because of the way I dress. I'm not like,
yes.
yes,
Yeah, sometimes I think as Niqabis just have to make that little bit extra effort, and I think it's worth
mhm,
it for the sake of Allah, especially
mhm,
between, like, the Muslim sisters, because
right,
you like, it's an encouragement as well. And obviously, for us, like, it's an easy, it's, well, for some of us it's going to be easier than others because everyone has their challenges, but for those of us who find it easy, it's encouragement to those sisters, and to let them know that there is something else that they can do to draw closer to Allah, or at least get
exactly,
some extra deeds, extra good deeds, inshallah, because
exactly,
that's how people need to see it, subhanallah. It's not about competing with each other in that sense. It's just about trying to, do as much as you can for the sake of Allah, alhamdulillah. Okay,
exactly.
so I wanted to ask about your business that you do. You said you was working in a hospital, and now you're working from home. And I came across you, I think through, it was through YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. I remember opening your website page and everything, and seeing you had a really lovely website, and was sharing like like little breakfast tips and things like that. So the lovely oat breakfast, and I love my porridge, so I was really like, yeah, just alhamdulillah, like fruits and all that kind of thing. And I was thinking, mashallah, this sister, she's got all this lovely stuff going on. And so
Sure.
that's why I wanted to reach out to you, to be able to like talk to you about these things. So could you tell the sisters a little bit about what you're doing regarding your, your career path and these kind of things?
Right. So I used to work in the hospital. I I I used to work in the hospital in New York. I worked for almost maybe 7, 8 years. And then I journeyed into doing public health. So I am also in public health. I'm a public health specialist. And right now that is part of what I do. But really with the YouTube and the website that you mentioned is about healthy eating, because I have my degree, my bachelor's in nutrition as well. So I wanted to be a dietitian, and then I changed path and I went into public health. So I was sharing a whole lot about nutrition, about healthy eating and all of that. And then now I am doing content creation on YouTube. Not really like a content creator, it's just a health educator, educating women, especially in their fertility and pregnancy, postpartum. And then also, I also coach a little bit in the lactation area. So that is basically what I do. Yeah, with the YouTube. And alhamdulillah, you found me there and I'm happy. Sometimes I feel like I'm not doing much. Sometimes I feel like there is a whole lot of information that I can share and educate and help to support women and help to support myself as well. Because as much as I learn and educate myself and have all this degree, I need to educate other women in order for me to also put it into practice, because I can as well share and educate, but if I don't practice it, what use is it? It's not a very beneficial education. I have to benefit from it and then translate it into other people's life. So I that's yeah. So that's what I think. I'm trying to at least share a whole lot more. So inshallah, may Allah make it easy, and whatever time I get,
Mm,
I try to share just a teeny tiny bit of what I'm learning and what I know, and may it be of beneficial to other sisters who come across all the information that I share, inshallah.
inshallah, inshallah. We'll keep up the good work, sister. We definitely need more sisters, in your field specifically. I think, especially when it comes to the nutrition side of things as well. And the postpartum and all this kind of things, because people, sisters in particular, they just need a lot of guidance and stuff like that. So I feel like in some areas of the Muslim community, we're a little bit behind when it comes to, going back to the more natural medicines and those things which actually, the ways in which we can really take care of our bodies in a
Yes.
natural way, and through using the food itself
Mhm.
and food preparation to actually make the best of that food, so we can get the vitamins and minerals that we actually need for our bodies to thrive well, and to be like, in optimum health. So I think it's really good. Alhamdulillah. I'm a hijama therapist as well, so I'm always interested to meet other like health practitioners also.
Oh,
And obviously having a young child, a young baby myself as well. The things that you've mentioned are definitely for somebody like me is always going to be very beneficial. Like, lactation consultant, all this kind of stuff, because you never know. Like, there's so many things that can happen
yes.
when a woman gives birth,
Mhm.
during the labor as well as after the labor as well. That could be unexpected. There's could be all sorts of things that happen. So the more knowledge that is shared,
Mhm.
is beneficial for women, so that they can, be more aware of, the different things that, could take place in that period of time, and not to freak out about it as well, because I think that's what happens. A lot of sisters, a lot of women in general, they feel maybe pressure to like do certain things that they might necessarily not actually have to do
Exactly.
due to lack of knowledge. Yeah,
Yes.
subhanallah. So it's really nice to know that, you're taking part in that field as well. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So yeah, mashallah. So you've got your website. What kind of services specifically are you offering to people right now? Like, since you're working from home, like, what do you offer clients? Because you said obviously you work from home and stuff. Are you consulting? Are you coaching? How do you deliver your service to people? And which, is paid services I'm talking about.
Right. So I have a consulting services that I provide to women. So I consult with them with nutrition consultation. So whether in the fertility journey, or in the, like I said, in the fertility journey or in the pregnancy journey, I consult with women, whether it's one-off consultation, or a whole package of 3 months sometimes, or 6 months sometimes. So it depends on where a sister is and where she wants help or support with. So I have the one off that I do with sisters who just want to maybe address certain things that is going on with them, or with the pregnancy, or with the lactation, just one off. And then also I have a package that I work with sisters for a long term. Okay. And then also I do doula work. Right now I'm not doing like
Oh, wow.
yes. I'm not doing like I don't attend do I've not attended birth since like last year, but I want to come back to attending birth, inshallah. But not right now. I'm thinking about it. But what I am also like now planning to offer to women is nutrition meals. Okay, so nutritious meals, that would be the postpartum nourishment that I am really working on right now to provide to sisters, because I have seen that even though the education is there, we can do the education, we can share the knowledge and all of that. Sometimes some women have hard time preparing the food itself. Sometimes some women, when they are pregnant, they just cannot even make anything, and they need that to sustain their pregnancy, or they need that to sustain to optimize their fertility, or to help them to have a good flow of milk supply. So preparing the meal is a challenge for a lot of women. Even though some women would come and have the consultation, we coach, and then you guide them through. But sometimes after that, women cannot continue with that. So I'm also working on that to provide nutritious meals to women who are not able to like cook themselves, especially in the early stages of pregnancy. Some women are not even able to stand their kitchen. Maybe their kitchen is their favorite place to be, but immediately they get pregnant, the kitchen becomes like something scary because of the smell of food, because of
Oh, definitely. I've had that experience with
yeah.
this one. Yeah, subhanAllah.
Yeah. So having a nutritious and a meal that is prepared based on the stage of the pregnancy that she is amazing, right? So that is something that I'm working on to bring to sisters, inshallah, and I hope that that would be also beneficial and help to support some sisters who really need that as well. Yeah.
Inshallah, inshallah. I'm looking forward to it. And I would love to have you back on, sister, to talk more in depth about this subject in particular, because really, like, subhanAllah, like there's so much that even me myself, I'm trying to like learn about these things a lot now and study them, because I've always wanted to be a doula actually, for quite, for many years. And so I'm just kind of getting into that now. That's something I'm trying to take up. So I've got a lot that I can learn from you, inshallah. So
Yes,
I would love to have you back on, definitely. And especially talking about the areas, even related to living in Ghana and practicing these kind of things too here as well. Because I think I've been in contact with a couple of doulas here, but they're not from from Ghana. I know one of the ladies actually, she's from the UK. She's Ghanaian, but she's from the UK, like born and raised in the UK. And then I think the other two that I think, did I speak to another two? I think I spoke to one other doula, and I think she's from Canada, African. Well, she's like a black Canadian, basically. I don't know what the Canadians call them. They don't call themselves African Americans, are they? African Canadian? I don't know what. Like, yeah, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? So yeah, she's from Canada. Yeah, but she's a doula here as well. Yeah, so like it's interesting because I feel like I don't know, like I don't know, like if I had this maybe romanticized view of like what it would be like to give birth in Ghana, you know, coming from the UK, because in the UK we're encouraged to have birth at home if we can,
Yeah.
or and as well have natural births and do breastfeeding. These are the things that we're actually encouraged to do these days in the UK, at least for the past 20 odd years. I remember when I had my daughter, my first daughter, that was like a big thing, and I had her in the hospital, but then my son, I had him at home, and it was kind of by accident. On I had planned to have like my son at home, but in the end, like, he wasn't supposed to be born at home because they didn't have the gas and air, and the midwife couldn't make it on time. So
Oh,
he wasn't supposed to be born at home, but he ended up being born at home anyways. So you know how birth can be, isn't it? You know,
yes,
subhanallah,
yes, that's
always twists and turns. So yeah, and then basically here, yeah, when I told them that I wanted to have my baby at home, they looked at me like I was crazy or something. Like, subhanallah, and I was just like, well, like, we're in Africa, like, isn't that
right.
what women do here anyways? You know, I was
Yeah.
thinking, you know, I
It
had,
used to
obviously, I know
be.
I'm living in Kumasi. Look, we're not in mud huts or anything like that, and I wouldn't mind living in a mud hut. I'm you know, demoting them or anything like that, but yeah, you know, we're living in concrete buildings, and you know, you mentioned you want to give birth at home, and they look at you like, you crazy, like, what's wrong with
Yeah.
you, kind of thing. And I was just thinking, like, what, are you crazy? Like, why not? You know,
Uh-huh.
and not only that, but they make it more expensive to actually give birth at home than giving birth in the hospital. And the amount of requirements that they have, like this whole list of like different products and things that you need to have in order to give birth. I was just thinking, really, like, I don't need all of this stuff. Like,
Yes, yes.
subhanallah. So
Too much
anyways, that was
comparison,
yeah,
right?
like, yeah, subhanallah, like a lot of, like, subhanallah, you just think, you know, I felt like I'd say I felt disappointed, because I feel like people are coming away from the nature here and natural things, and going towards more of the pharmaceutical based stuff that isn't so beneficial, when actually, like, in, you know, I'm sure in the culture people had things which were more beneficial and healthy for women in their labor and pregnancy and stuff like that. But alhamdulillah, Allah knows best. I'm sure that, you know, obviously people have their reasons, and I know that once people have been educated in a certain way, they want to kind of implement what they've learned, and they feel that that's the best way. So I can't knock them, you know, for doing that. But I feel like, inshallah, I hope that, you know, they can come back to being more natural, and or maybe being able to integrate the traditional medicine with, you know, whatever is beneficial from the pharmaceutical industry, which I don't hold it in very high esteem personally. But yeah, I could talk about this probably all day actually, which I don't want to keep you for longer.
Yeah.
So inshallah, we'll try to wrap up this episode, but I really,
I think,
really, really would absolutely, I would love to speak to you another time.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, to talk mostly just about these issues, inshallah, and then hopefully by then you'll have you know, developed your you know, your course that you said you was going to be doing as well for sisters, inshallah. That will be great, so you can discuss that more later, and maybe do, you know, a little bit of promotion as well. Put your name out there, you know, let sisters know what you're doing, inshallah, because definitely it's beneficial.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, to wrap up the interview, I'll ask you like the last few questions, inshallah. So do you know, or have you met any sisters since you've been wearing the niqab, or even before, who have been forced to wear the niqab?
No, no. I don't know any sister who has been forced to wear the niqab. No, just maybe suggestion from his
Okay,
spouse. Yeah.
okay. And what about the flip side? So have you met any sisters who want to wear the niqab, but they're not allowed to wear it at all, or somebody's telling them that they can't wear it?
No, there are sisters who want to wear the niqab and they want to ask about like how does it feel like wearing the niqab, and what can they how can they start wearing the niqab, and everything else that comes with committing to wearing the niqab, but not as they want to wear the niqab and somebody no.
Okay, okay, alhamdulillah. And would you say, in your experience, that you feel the niqab is a barrier? And if so, in which sense?
Absolutely no. A big and oh no. The niqab For me, personal experience, I think the niqab is a form of empowerment. I think the niqab is a form of beauty. I think the niqab is a form of liberation. I think the niqab is everything that I thought it wasn't. Niqab is enlightening. It's making my life easy. It's making me even more happier when I go out. Like I said earlier, like wearing the niqab is making me to feel like I'm on top of the moon because I care less what somebody else think except what Allah thinks, and it makes me free. So niqab is really not a barrier. Niqab is really something that keeps you going. Okay, other than what society has made, even wearing the hijab, society has made wearing the hijab so difficult because we live in non-Islamic um society. Other than that, niqab is just beautiful. It is a prescription from Allah, and Allah knows best why He gives us this as a beautiful thing. And I think I think if I would go back, I would have embraced wearing niqab long time ago before now. Yeah. It's just something that I think makes me feel free. I don't think too much on what I need to wear, what I need to do, how I need to impress somebody else. I always think about how I need to impress my Allah, and that
Mm-hmm.
is one of the things that I think makes me to feel like, yeah, this is the lifestyle, this is it. Yeah, so if anybody wants to embrace and start wearing niqab, subhanallah, don't take it too long, don't think about it too long. Niqab is just a prescription. Sometimes we hear is not compulsory, is not obligatory, but actually it's just a step forward to wearing hijab. It's not anything serious. I don't know. It's not anything serious. Like when you are able to wear hijab, inshallah you'll be able to wear niqab if that is what you want. Inshallah. So I think,
Inshallah.
yeah, I think um it's just something that opens up the door rather than closes the door. If not because society has made it too difficult for us, like Islam is just too difficult, especially because we live in a non-Islamic country, and also with because of um um how society is built. We start to look for Allah way late in our lives. We when we start to educate ourselves, or we go to school, we go to madrasa, we are always thinking about how we can grow up to be this and to be that and to be that, without even thinking about how we can grow up to impress Allah, how we can grow up to properly worship Allah, how we can grow up to um um invite Allah in everything that we do. So it's like Allah comes in late in our lives most of the time. And if we can, at least now, if you can, don't take too much time to think about it. If you are not wearing hijab and you are thinking about wearing hijab, this is the time. Don't take too much time to think about it. Just make your research on how to properly wear hijab. Don't look at the people who are on social media sharing how beautiful and stuff like that you need to make your hijab and this and that. It's just that simple. It is just that simple. As far as it checks off all the boxes of what proper hijab is, it is not see-through, it is not showing your figure, it is not this, it's not that. You are good to go. Just start it. And then inshallah, Allah will make it easy for you to navigate life and to navigate everything else you want to navigate in, inshallah. And then niqab as well. Yeah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Well, I was going to ask you, what would you advise sisters who want to wear the niqab but don't feel the confidence to do so?
Yeah. I mean, it's just to go to just do it. Okay. So confidence will come when you start doing something. You will not get confidence without practicing and practicing and practicing. So confidence develops when you practice, when you get your foot out there, and when you take your first step. So if you are thinking about it, just try it. Put on a mirror in front of you, or your mirror, if you are married, your mirror is your husband. Or if you are not married, your mirror might be your dad or your brother or your friends, your good friends in Islam, and then go for it.
MashaAllah. I like that. Your mirror is your husband. I like that. MashaAllah. I've not heard that expression before. That's really nice. MashaAllah. Because I think, and it makes sense, because I think if you stand in front of an actual mirror and you look at yourself, maybe sometimes you'll have these self-doubts, isn't it? But having that feedback from, especially from a man, I think, and like we as women, we do value men's opinions, especially when it comes to our looks. Like we value men's opinions more than anybody else, subhanAllah. So I think that it's important to have that. You know, like it's easy. You can tell 100 women that they look fantastic. If a man doesn't think they look fantastic, or he doesn't give them a compliment, they're not going to care what you think. You know, subhanAllah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you know, that's how it is. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Okay, so finally, sister, what does the niqab mean to you?
The niqab means empowerment. It means beauty. It means being closer to Allah first. And it means obeying to the laws and guidance of the niqab. And obeying to the guidance and laws of the niqab is obeying to the words of Allah. So yeah, that's what the niqab means to me.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah feekum, sister. Thank you for giving so much of your time today. We've had a really lengthy chat, and I'm sure we could have talked for even longer, but inshallah, definitely we're going to have another session together, inshallah, if you permit that, if you'd be happy to do that. I really would love to talk to you again. So yeah, and alhamdulillah. Barakallah.
Let me know whenever you're ready, and then I would just put it in my calendar and see how it works for me. Inshallah.
Okay, inshallah, definitely we'll do that. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, sister, and have a blessed day, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakillahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.